Today, we will be featuring a story of inspiration, a journey of a dreamer to becoming the leader of her life. She is a successful entrepreneur who made her ideas into reality, and she is one of the people that I admire, and I wish to copy her vibrant and go-getter spirit. So she was a former flight attendant who immigrated from the Philippines, and now she owns a senior care facility, multi-line insurance agency, real estate investments, dreamer to leader podcast host, and the CEO and owner of Runway Heels, the world's first retractable high heels. So I'm excited to have here today with you guys from Los Angeles, California. Please welcome Miss Melody Avicilia.
Hi. Thank you for having me. Well, I'm a mom of three. You mentioned the flight attendant turned entrepreneur. Since I was a kid, I knew that entrepreneurship was really the way to go. For me, it was sort of like a timetable that I laid out very early on in my life. You know, again, I think I was high school when I knew that I wanted to really see the world, fly under someone's dime, right? So you know how it was in the Philippines, to travel abroad would really take a lot of money. And I think the best way for me to do that was to be a flight attendant. And I knew that was going to be only short term, because the whole long-term goal was to go and venture into entrepreneurship.
Can you give us some details about your current projects or business that you're currently working on? I know that I mentioned that you own certain businesses. Give us a little bit of details so that our viewers can understand what you have right
now. Sure, of course. So the thing that I have now that I started 4 years ago is Runway Heels. So that's kind of the world's first. Very proud to say it's patented, first world push button retractable high heels. This is for all the women out there, all the women on the go who wants to have their cake and eat it too. It's heels on demand. So basically, as you go through your day and here you are being a mom, let's say, or doing your errands, doing your chores, you're in your flats, and then you have a client, you have to do some presentations, or you have a date or what have you. Then you just click the button, and all of a sudden you have your crazy, amazing, sexy high heels. So you can have, it's a 2-in-1 shoes. It's revolutionary in that way. It's available in the market right now. You can check the website, which I will share, I think, later. So that is really ongoing, and there's a lot of what they call iterations or changes that we're doing in terms of making the technology better, having all those improvements, and of course, the design. So based on season, based on kind of what's the trend, we're always making those changes. So that's Runway, and the most recent baby is the podcast. And I just had one interview a while ago, and it's called Dreamers to Leaders podcast. It showcased all those who had a vision, had a dream, goal that they want to pursue. It showcased their humble beginnings and their struggles and all the obstacles that they had to endure to get to where they are. So it's really a story of how their life evolved, and really showcasing that journey. And then, of course, being a mom.
What inspired you to become an entrepreneur and not a regular 9-to-5 job?
As I mentioned, growing up, I guess it's the exposure. It's also the exposure of me growing up and both sides of my family. So my mother's side, they're pretty much all in show business. So they're all entrepreneurs that way. On my father's side, he has a PhD in business. I've seen how he, establishes one business after another. So he did like import export for a time, and then also sent overseas workers from the Philippines to the Middle East. And really growing up, I think what was the most vivid and the most impact for me was owning the bake shop. My mother loved to bake. We had a thriving, very successful bake shop back in Lucena City. And but that kind of changed when we moved to Manila. And because of the competition in Manila, so there's Red Ribbon, there's Goldilocks, there's all these big name bake shop. It didn't quite become that successful compared to how it performed in the province in Lucena, right? So I guess that type of exposure, I really kind of thought that was really it for me. I like kind of the dynamics of having your own say and being in control of the outcome of whatever venture there is.
Oh yeah. Okay, so you have a lot of things going on. You've got an insurance company. You're running a senior care facility. You have the Runway Hills. You have the podcast. You're a mom. Where do you get all of this energy? From doing all of these things. Don't you feel overwhelmed?
Mm-hmm. I think it's better to be overwhelmed than underwhelmed. So yes, I do, but I think in terms of strengths and weaknesses, I would consider, I think, prioritizing and multitasking as part of something that I have evolved to be quite good at. And how to do that. Okay, so first is being able to say no. I think there's truly the power of saying no, especially in the stage in my life. I have become really good at it. I mean, to the point where I'm very selective, I'm very choosy as to who I would spend time with. So obviously you're special. I'm here with you.
Thank you.
Family, friend. And I'm very grateful for your support as well. But saying no to things that that's not going to add value to your life. I think as Filipinos, we are quite, as a culture, been more, I wouldn't say, some are still very submissive, but very, for the sake of being really kind, because I think by nature we are all, very kind people. Out of kindness and being polite, that we forget what's important to us. And I think you have to not lose sight on what is important to you. So you're the one, you, yourself, your shadow, and your echo. You have to really safeguard that time, to know, have a clear picture on what you want to accomplish. And if you're nowhere near there, or something gets in the way, that it's not part of the plan, therefore you say no. So number one, so the power of saying no. And second is really enjoying what you do. So yes, I get overwhelmed, and there's quite a lot, but I don't see it that way to the degree, because if you enjoy what you do it anyway. So it's like if your work is golf and you really like golf,
yeah,
right, then it's not work. You're enjoying what you do. So I think that's key, to really know what clicks with you, as a human being. And if you enjoy it, you follow your passion, you follow what gives you joy and true bliss. And if that is the case, and even if you have to juggle so many things, it's not torture. It's more like, you still have a smile on your face because you really enjoy it. And the same thing with this podcast, I really enjoy the interaction. I really enjoy the learning. and the whole dynamics of being out there and being able to spread your message and have that voice that you could give to whatever causes that I think are important. So that's second. And third is, I think I'm also very good at compartmentalizing. I think it's important to be able to understand what you need to really focus on. So like, for example, so there's a time for me as, just the self-care type. So, the exercising, exercising your faith, you go to church, so on and so forth, you meditate, yoga, all that needs to be checked before anything else, right? So that's done. And then at night, there's also a time that you block specifically for your children. So in this case, Liam, he's 7 years old. So at night, want to make sure that I spend quality time with him, from reading him a book, so on and so forth, and like listening to him practice his guitar, etc. So those are important. So it's not really the quantity per se. No one's going to say that 9 to 5 you're just being there as a mom, right? But it's the quality of that attention that you give to whatever task that you have in mind, and then the rest is when you do your work, so from other things that you have to juggle, from client meeting to whatever else that you have to take care of for your livelihood. So those are all important. So yes, there's going to be a lot, but if you dedicate time and you make those time really sacred, then in your head, you have that peace of mind that you're accomplishing what you need to accomplish, though it could seem from a distance that oh my God, it's a lot. So there you go. So those are the 3 things that I think would help anyone tackle a lot of things efficiently.
Do you have any mantra to keep your spirits up during tough times, either personally or professionally?
Mm-hmm. So yes, I wouldn't really say mentors per se, but a group of people that I respect their opinions and their thoughts on things. I'm very, very blessed to have a group network of people that are pretty much on my speed dial that I could call on. And I know specifically if it's a question maybe with regards to logistics, strategy, or HR, things like that, operations. I know specifically who to call because I know that's her strength. When it comes to numbers, when it comes to balance sheet or anything that has math in it, I know also who would be really good and that would be willing really to help out. So I think it's important to really have a group of people that you could call on that you respect their opinion and their talent and their skills. So I have that, and then in addition, I also am I devote a lot of time as well in reading and listening, from podcasts to even watching YouTube videos on the specialists and gurus, depending on the subject matter that I need answers for. So there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good. So a lot of our viewers are OFWs who's trying to save some money to start some kind of business when they come home. So any advice that you could give them?
So of course you need capital, right? When you want to start a business. So regardless whether it's starting a business or just really saving for rainy days or for your retirement, right? So I think it's important to have at least, two buckets. One is for saving for your fixed expenses. So what are your fixed expenses? From rent or to mortgage, to grocery, to utilities, to insurances, so on and so forth. You have those that regardless, you kind of need to pay. So you want to make sure that whatever that amount is, you have to save at least, 6 months of that. That's just on reserve, right? You do your best to make sure that that bucket is full and healthy, so you can dip into it if you need money, right? And then the second bucket is investing. So you got to be able to maybe position yourself to have someone that you would trust in terms of investment advice, so your money could also grow. So I don't know what your so it depends on the individual, what they think is something that they would enjoy, or that they would like to really know more of. May it be real estate, may it be stocks and bonds, may it be another a business, let's say, or but importantly also is look into what's available. I don't know what's the equivalent in the Philippines or whatever country that they are in. If it is here in the US, there's the 401k, there's the individual retirement account, so on and so forth. So exhaust what's out there. Really learn what are the pros and cons of all the investment vehicles that are out there. And then, so keep learning, keep reading, and keep asking the right questions. Look for resources so you can gain valuable knowledge that you need in order to dive into investing.
Our last question will be, any current or future projects that our viewers might be interested in?
All right. Yeah. So thank you for that, Nanette. So if they're in the U.S., then of course, if they need a quote on their insurances from Auto, Home, Life, we have the agency in Studio City, Hollywood that could help them. So we're gonna make sure that we tailor it according to their needs, their budget, and their comfort. So there's at least 2 that speaks Tagalog, there, so they're going to be really super comfortable. So there's that, and then of course for all the fashionistas or for those that just kind of want to check it out and just have the versatility of having comfortable shoes that could convert from flats to high heels, for them to check out the website www.runwayheels.com, and also if you go to our Facebook, and I think you have to just click there's a link, that you click, and it'll give you a link to give you that 20% promo code. So for those who want to get a discount and check it out, that would be good to look into our Facebook page.
Which code?
So Runway Heels as well. So that, and then for those who just kind of want to listen in or watch in YouTube, things that are inspiring, and just to kind of get some tips and pointers from those that have made it and are leaders in the industry, from different types of industry. So we have those leaders that are sharing. They've been sharing their stories and their struggles and all the tips that could help anyone who wants to better themselves. So Dreamers to Leaders is the podcast. Runwayheels.com would be for the shoes, and statefarm.com, Melody Avasilia would be the agency for insurance.
Thank you, Ate, for taking the time. Thank you for being an inspiration to all of us who, want to start something. Like sometimes in life you want to start something, but sometimes something is like holding you back. So thank you for inspiring us, giving it inspiration that you can do a lot of things, that sometimes even if it's overwhelming, but if you are focused on something, you have a goal, then you can definitely make it. Thank you so much. And we wish you more success.
Love to you. All the best.
Bye. Bye.